130 victims were what's known as the Heavens 27. They are the 27 campers and counselors who died at Camp Mystic when floodwaters overtook their campsite. But sadly, the body of one little girl to this day still has not been recovered. This is Seal Stewart. She attended Camp Mystic. Today, her family says that they still have hope that her body will eventually be found, saying, quote, "We still do not know how we will face that morning, but we know we will not face it alone, because in the wreckage of the Guadalupe River, there are still people searching, still refusing to leave our daughter behind." Our Ken Molestina is in Kerrville for us tonight, heading into this very difficult weekend for so many. And you've got a wonderful story tonight of heroism and extraordinary effort by first responders to save as many people as possible that day. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, Doug, and you know, so many people tried, right? A year after the tragedy, we caught up with a pair of Kerrville police officers who were off duty that night. They were home when they decided to step up and help. They ended up saving a handful of people who were just moments away from being swept away from the river water. They took us to the very spot where it all happened to reflect on what life is like out here a year later.
It's hard to imagine my town, or the town that I live in that I love so much, go through such a devastating event. I mean, it's hard to imagine what it looked like that morning.
He may not want to, but it's impossible to forget it. For Kerrville Police Sergeant Tyler Cottonware and his colleague Detective Ryan Casey, the events of July 4th, 2025 are forever ingrained in their memories. They took me back to the very spot off the river in their town of Hunt to reflect on the moments where they rescued a handful of helpless flood victims.
When you all got here, was it still steadily rising?
Yes.
Or had it sort of stopped? Had it crested?
No, it was rising.
The officers who happened to live near each other had woken up in the middle of the night to discover the catastrophic flooding, and they immediately sprung into action.
And there were a woman and her child on top of the Hunt store right here.
Right over here?
Yes, right there. So got a ladder from a neighbor that lives up the road, and we're able to get them down.
You know, there were people kind of wherever the water kind of brought them there. You know, there's one over here in this area out in the river that was holding onto a tree, and so we couldn't get to him. And then one guy was over here by this building here on an electrical box.
Probably from where we're standing, Ken, the water was probably 50 foot up the roadway here. So, I mean, it was way above our heads.
One by one, they brought those they could reach to safety. They stayed near the other victims they couldn't immediately pull, and eventually, as the water receded, in the long hours that followed, they were able to get to them all.
The one little girl that we got off of the roof of the Hunt store, she goes to school with my kids, so I see her at school functions, and she always comes and gives me a big hug, so that's always real nice.
What's that like for you now?
Oh, it's, you know, I'm not a crier, and but it gets me, you know.
Every tragic story needs a good hero, and that's a term that has been extended to you two a lot in the past year. Heroes of that night, at least in saving so many people around here. Are you guys comfortable with that term? How do you feel about that?
No, we're not heroes, and he'll say the same. And you know, it's humbling for people to say that, but you know, I would like to think that anybody put in our situation
Would do the same thing.
Would have done the same thing.
For now, the rebuilding continues as life seemingly tries to return to the calm and to the beauty that these hills and these streams are known for. For Cottonware and Casey, though, there are constant daily reminders of what life is like now.
It's made me think about life, as he mentioned, how delicate life can be in an instant. And moving forward, it really makes you think about the oath that you took.
It brought us together more than you could ever imagine, Ken. Just different people from the community, from around the state, around the nation has been brought together.
And I'll tell you what, that togetherness that you hear about, that you see out here, it's on display everywhere you look around town, anywhere you drive, anyone you talk to. They all say the only way that they're going to eventually get back to normal and get through all of this is by leaning on each other. It's something that they say, and it's something that clearly they're practicing here. A Kerrville Memorial Wall dedication was held earlier today. I want to show you some video of that taken earlier today out here. It honors all of those who were killed in last year's flooding. We're talking families, first responders, and volunteers, everyone here in town. Anyone who's had anything to do with this tragedy showed up there today. Kerrville, of course, is trying to merge tragedy and celebration, kind of a tall order, but they're trying. It is an emotionally challenging task that no one wanted to go through, yet they made the steps to achieve it. Our Marvin Hurst from a city park here in Kerrville for an event they're calling Faith and Fellowship.
The event brought people in Kerrville and the Texas Hill Country together to make steps towards healing, but it became obvious that this could take a while.
The Guadalupe River is one of the parts that makes the Texas Hill Country so great, especially in Kerr County. You know, like I grew up on this river. I spent half of my life literally probably in that water, you know, and it's mostly a haven of happy memories.
There are also pastors and mental health professionals walking around in light purple shirts that say, "I want to hear your story."
Kerrville sought a different flow on Friday night, one to increase faith and strengthen fellowship.
And just like you can see on the river, it's going to take a generation for the scar to go away. You know, all of the trees and the destruction and the mark that it left on the Texas Hill Country is going to be there as long as I'm alive. We'll never be able to forget, you know, and every time you don't remember, all you have to do is drive by the river, and it immediately takes you back.
Organizers had set up just like this last year, before the cloak of night and raging floodwaters killed more than 135. Now they come back to reclaim ground, commemorate the lost, offer themselves and what hurts.
You know, like my family was safe. I still have all my children, you know, and there's members of our community that lost all of that. It's hard to talk about, you know?
Hoping the organized event steers the tomorrow that yesterday stole.
Definitely still healing as a community.
In Kerrville, Marvin Hurst, CBS News, Texas.
And our thanks to Marvin for all of that. Other events, by the way, are scheduled through the weekend. I want to kind of go through some of that for you. Kerrville will celebrate the 4th of July tomorrow. Hard to believe it, but that is the plan, while they are also going to be honoring last year's tragedy at the same time. Tomorrow, the city is going to host what it's calling the 4th on the River. This includes a big fireworks display for everyone out here in the Hill Country, and then a symphony concert will be held to remember the flooding victims. We are also told, we learned about this earlier today, Governor Greg Abbott, he will be in town here in Kerrville, and he will read the names of all of those victims. So again, that is expected to happen tomorrow. Full slate of events tomorrow, Doug. We're going to be here for that, going to be here throughout the weekend, continuing to cover these events and bring them to you here. But just as a quick closing thought, you know, Doug, it is awing, really, to see the strength of the people out here in the Hill Country, how they're trying to navigate all of this pain and all of this heartbreak, and at the same time still celebrate the 4th of July. And not just the 4th of July, obviously we know it's the 250th anniversary of our independence, but they say they will do it. That's that Texas spirit, and that's that strength that so many of these folks out here have exhibited, and that's the way that they're leaning on each other to get through all of this, Doug. But again, we're going to be here for all of it.
And I hope they know that there's an entire state thinking about them tomorrow, despite obviously everything else going on to celebrate the country. Ken Molestina, thank you so much, and our thanks to Marvin Hurst as well. Tip of the cap. Our coverage from Kerrville does continue tomorrow, and we sure do hope you can join us. More stories of how this region is remembering the victims, but at the same time finding their way forward. Let's talk about America's birthday celebrations now. They are well underway as the United States turns 250 tomorrow. Next at 10 o'clock, we're going to take you inside one of the largest Independence Day celebrations in this country that just so happens to be right here in North Texas. And later, what we know about the viral confrontation with Dallas police and 2 members of Egypt's coaching staff. Hot and steamy for the 4th, it sounds like, McKenna.
It will be hot and steamy for the 4th. It will be hot and steamy all weekend, too. This stretch trends onward. I will show you how long it lasts and give you that full hourly timeline for tomorrow in just a few minutes.
How good is all of that? The sights and the sounds of fireworks from moments ago at Kaboom Town in Addison. It is one of the biggest Independence Day traditions we have here in North Texas. The nation talks about it. And of course, this year it's happening on the eve of America's 250th birthday. What a night. Kaboom Town reps told us they expect about 500,000 visitors this year. And somewhere in the middle of it all, we narrow all the way down and we find our Marissa Armas. And it sounds like it was one heck of a show.
Yeah, Doug, and the party here is still going, and right now is when everyone is trying to leave. That's likely when we see a lot of that gridlock traffic. If you take a look behind me, you can see several folks are actually waiting out some of that traffic. Others are still having a dance party out here. But before many of these folks got here, some people we spoke to decided to skip all of that traffic altogether by jumping on DART's new Silver Line, and we also decided to experience it for ourselves. So I'm here at the downtown Carrollton DART station, and I'm going to take the Silver Line all the way down to Addison for Kaboom Town. So let's see how this goes.
I'm excited about going on the train.
Yeah, I didn't want to deal with all the traffic and the congestion, and I've never ridden this line before, so I wanted to check it out.
Lawn chairs in hand. Hundreds of North Texans use DART's new Silver Line to get to Addison for the city's big 4th of July celebration.
I'd seen on the news that there was going to be like so many people. I think they said like 500,000 or something like that. And so I figured we could take the DART and try and save some time getting out of Addison.
I'll tell Doug Dunbar thanks, because he's the one on the air last night that reminded me that the Silver Line was going to be going to Addison Circle.
So almost every single person I've spoken to right now on the Silver Line is actually headed to Kaboom Town, so that's good news.
It was so much gridlock after the show, and now we just get done, get on a train, and it takes us within a couple minutes of home.
More importantly, happy birthday, America.
That's right.
The 4-decade tradition usually causes a traffic mess in the area, but with trains running every 30 minutes throughout the night, organizers hope this new alternative helps alleviate some of the chaos for this annual event.
We've just been waiting on the transit for years, so we're super excited to have it. It's really a great benefit with our event.
And for first-time riders, overall the new line earned positive reviews.
So online it's real hard to see schedules and stuff, like to see when the time, like the trains are running. I mean, maybe if there was a, like it's just better information on that.
Perfect. Easy. Simple, simple, simple.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. Yay!
So as you can hear, a lot of folks excited about that new train. Organizers do hope that next year more folks utilize that Silver Line. And we did reach out to DART to see if they can share some early numbers with us, but they said those numbers wouldn't be available until Monday. But it's a party here, and a good thing you can do now is just wait it out, have a little dance party, and then head home on the DART train. Doug will send things back to you.
That's awesome. Great. And thanks for the shout out from that gentleman. And all three of us standing here in the studio had no clue the floss was still a thing, but it's still a thing. Dudes are flossing out there. Thanks, yes. Marissa. Appreciate you. By the way, celebrations continue tomorrow starting 9 o'clock in the morning. Arlington, put that on your list if you want. They're going to be holding the 62nd annual Independence Day Parade. And then there is going to be Fort Worth's 4th, which kicks off the party at 3 in the afternoon. They'll get underway at Panther Island Pavilion. Or you can go to the FIFA Fan Fest. That's been a pretty hot ticket. Fair Park in Dallas, free to get in. You got to register, though. Turnpike Troubadour is going to perform on the pavilion at 7:30 tomorrow night. Clyde Warren Park, they're going to host celebrations as well. Fireworks. Everything starts at Clyde Warren at 7, and the fireworks will come at the end tomorrow night. So with all of that, McKenna King, no pressure, but it's a big day tomorrow.
It is.
How do we plan?
Look, we got some fireworks going on in studio just right over here.
Oh, look. Oh, maybe
fancy that. Come on.
Baby.
There they are. You didn't even have to go to Kaboom Town, but if you did, it looked like quite the show out there. We have got quite the forecast for your holiday weekend. It's going to be very typical of July. Marcus, let's pan a little that way so we can read those words. There we go. Hot and humid as we get through the upcoming weekend. Those feels like temperatures will range anywhere from about 100 to 105. So plan for feels like temperatures warmer than that that actual air temperature. That's thanks to dew points. Will be just a touch more humid as we head into the upcoming weekend. Expect mainly sunny skies with just a very, very isolated storm chance as we get through the weekend. I'll walk you through the timing of that and the placement too. But first, I want to show you your holiday forecast for tomorrow. We start the morning off in the 80s already, mid-80s by 9 o'clock. We head to the mid-90s by lunchtime, and then we're looking at forecast highs close to the triple digits for the Metroplex. Of course, hotter off to the west. It's going to be hot everywhere, though, so make sure you are taking those heat safety precautions. Stay hydrated. You will need the sunscreen, and make sure you're reapplying it. You really want to avoid any signs of heat exhaustion. If you start to see those, make sure you are headed inside. Take those breaks in the shade and in the AC. Sunrise, you're looking at 6:24 in the morning. Sunset, you're looking at 8:38 tomorrow evening, and it will be another hot one. Today, we topped out at 98 degrees at DFW. Average for this point in the year is 94, so we were a couple of degrees above that, but nowhere near that record set back in 1980. Thankfully, that record is 109 degrees. We're grateful we're not there. Just feeling like July. Those dew points have been sticking in the middle 60s most of the last, really through the middle of this week, and now into Friday, we topped out with dew points right around 65, 66. That keeps us sticky, but by this weekend, we'll increase just a little bit, closer to that uncomfortable category, which does lead to that rise in those feels like temperatures. So just keep that in mind. And as a result of that additional low-level moisture, we will introduce some very isolated shower and thunderstorm chances. Placement for those primarily off to the east of the 35 corridor, which is where those showers have been the last couple of days. But it is very isolated activity. Not everybody sees these. But if you do, just keep in mind, if you see the lightning, hear the thunder, head inside until 30 minutes after that last clap of thunder. Most of us will stay dry. We'll just be hot. We'll just be humid. Make sure you're staying hydrated. The forecast looks a lot like this for quite a long time. We'll be right back.